Hey, what's up? My name is Ange. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we have a complete spoiler reading vlog of Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, which I am reading as 5th in the Throne of Glass series. If you don't know, if you're new, if this is the first video that you're seeing from me regarding reading the Throne of Glass series, I have an entire playlist dedicated to a reading vlog per book for this entire series. I am going to be doing possibly 2 videos for the tandem read. Full spoiler reading vlog. If you've watched my last ones, it's been a while since I have read. I don't know what it is about it. I did actually start this book, but let me first tell you what this book says on the back, and then I'll give you some of the things that I have written down so far. So this one says, "No masters, no limits, no regrets. Selena Sarduthian has embraced her identity as Aelin Galathianus, is that how you say it? Queen of Terrasen? Ugh, this is so bad. I forgot how insane fantasy reading vlog novels are because I can't talk. But before she can reclaim her throne, she must fight. She will fight for her cousin, a warrior prepared to die for her. She will fight for her friend, a young man trapped in an unspeakable prison. And she will fight for her people, enslaved to a brutal king and awaiting their lost queen's triumphant return. Everyone Aelin loves has been taken from her. Everything she holds dear is in danger. But she has the heart of a queen, and that heart beats for vengeance." I have started this. I started a few days ago, and I never got a chance to actually pick up the camera and talk to you. So I am only 5 chapters in. I'm not far at all. Like, this compared to this is what I have read so far. I do have some notes though. I keep all of my notes in Notion. So Aelin got back to Rithold, and she was spying on whoever Arobynn was meeting in the vaults, and it ended up that he was meeting with Chaol. Chaol is back. Cole. I want to call him Cole. I have been saying this since we first got introduced to him in the very first book. I want to call him Cole. His name is apparently Chaol. I looked up the pronunciation of it. If I'm wrong, now his name is Chaol. Just like Tamlin is tampon in my brain. So Arobynn ended up seeing her. They were, he was like begging for her to come back. He was like, "Here, you have to," I forget what the thing was. He told her about how Aedion, her cousin, however you say his name, is being held by the king and that he's going to be executed, whatever. And she's like, "Well, why are you telling me that?" And he's like, "Well, I want you to capture one of the creatures and bring it back because they're disrupting where I am and what I'm doing. So I need to experiment on them and see how to kill them." And she's like, "Well, you can only kill them with fire." And he's like, "Okay, well, we'll see about that. Bring one back to me and I'll help you save Aedion." So my prediction is that I think Aedion is going to die right as she's about to save him. It's going to be like this big blow thing. Obviously, I want him to live, but I just don't think that he's going to. Literally all I got so far. Only 5 chapters in, so I want to read for a little bit. My goal for the end of the year is to finish the entire Throne of Glass series, but starting off with this one today is December 1st when I am filming this. So let's read for a little bit. Let's see how far I could get. I have missed this world. I want to finish the series. I want to really truly get back into it because I feel like I have not done this series any justice by reading it so far apart. So let's keep reading. Her and Chaol talked. He's pissed at her. He basically was like, "Why'd you come back empty-handed? Like, you were supposed to come back with people. Like, you're supposed to help. He's part of the rebel cause. You left the kingdom, whatever." He told her about how Dorian had this, like, collar on his neck, whatever. Like, if it wasn't for you and doing all that, maybe that conversation wouldn't have happened if you didn't, like, go and, like, put fire around an entire kingdom, whatever. And she's like, "Well, that collar is like how he's controlling him. Like, Dorian's probably not even in there anymore, and now they're mad at each other and whatever." And then Aelin had gone back to like her apartment that she bought. Then she wrote a letter to Arobynn accepting his offer. "One vowed demon owed to the king of the assassins in exchange for his assistance in the rescue and safe return of Aedion Ashriver, the Wolf of the North." And chapter ended. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. Now that it says on there, "and safe return," I'm concerned. But I still have the prediction, so we'll see. I wish I was recording when Lysandra popped up, because if everybody doesn't remember Lysandra, she was the girl, I'm pretty sure she was from The Assassin's Blade, yeah. Because she was like hanging around Sam. She's like the girl, I believe they call it the brothel, unless they don't call it that in this book. The money that Selena had paid Arabin in order to like buy her freedom, he had used to buy Lysandra when like for her bidding. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna go too far into that. Anyway, she came back. She was like outside of Selena's house, or Aelin. Am I calling her Aelin? I'm calling her Aelin. Yeah, I'm calling her Aelin. And she's like, alright, just come in, whatever. And then she's talking to her and she's like, well, I'm here to warn you. And Selena's like, Aelin is like, yeah, okay. And then she has like this 11-year-old with her. And she's like, oh, is this your, like, are you teaching her or whatever? And she's like, no. Lysandra gave her a letter from Wesley, like, saying, like, everything that happened, blah, blah, blah. She's been holding on to it for 2 years. They were lovers, blah, blah, whatever. And then she, like, just doesn't trust her. Like, you're just trying to test me, whatever. Of course you're gonna be here. And Lysandra's saying, like, I don't know what you promised him, but there's something wrong. Like, it's gonna be a trap. I'm just here to warn you because of my history with Wesley. And then Evangeline, the girl that she was with her, was saying, like, the reason that she's still paying back the brothel is because I was, like, given to her to, like, be, like, her little sidekick or whatever. I don't know what she really was called, but to do that. And I told her I was crying to her and I didn't want to do it, whatever. So she cut my face so that I didn't have to do it. So now she's paying off the debt. Like, she had to buy me so that, like, because of what she did to me. I was like, oh, okay. And Selena's like, okay, maybe people do change. And she, like, already told them to leave. And then the chapter ended. It was chapter 9 with her, like, being like, wait. So that happened. And then it cut over to the castle. Adian is in the prison. And then not Dorian, comes in. Adian's trying to, like, say Sorsha to get, like, a reaction on him. He's giving him nothing. And then we have a page break. And the thing inside him left the dungeons and headed into the glass castle, steering his body like a ship. So we know that Dorian is in there somewhere, which is something that Aelin was saying earlier on in the book, that, like, they're not there anymore. I don't know if Dorian's just so strong, like, his powers are so strong or whatever, that he's going to be able to beat it, but that's what's happening so far. Only on chapter 11, page 91, so we're going to read for a little bit longer, but that's just a quick update on what's going on and where I'm at. Saying this, Parrington is asking Manon, like, we want to experiment, so we need a Blackbeak coven under your command to test. And she's like, test them how? And he's like, well, to determine whether they're compatible for breeding with our allies from another realm, the Valge, or however you say that. And she's like, what? And he's like, well, not breed as humans do, but it would be a procedure, a bit of stone sewn just beneath the belly button. Stone allows them, then you see a child, you understand what investment that would be, which is value your offspring. So, Manon is not happy. we have to chat about a lot of things because I have been reading this book right here, Queen of Shadows, right? I am on chapter 31. I'm about like, it's a little bit less than like halfway through the book. And I've been reading and not updating anybody. So let's go through my notes here and let's chat. Because the last time I checked in, I have no idea. According to this, the last time that I actually said anything was about when Lysandra showed up, which was with Evangeline, which was forever and a half ago. So, update on Lysandra. Her and Aelin are besties. They're like, oh yay, girlfriends. Love it. So that's cute. Aelin was able to sneak into the castle as a dancer with Florine. She was like the dance teacher, kind of whatever. They were performing at Dorian's birthday. She pretended to cry and needed water so that she was able to spill that all over the word marks, however you say it, so that she didn't know what they were for. So if they were to like keep her out or alert anybody that she was there, that she was able to like basically rub them away so that she could get past those things, which was really cool. I thought that was very interesting, and that was very like quick thinking. Also, she was able to rescue Aedion, which I did not think was going to happen. I had said earlier on in the video, literally flashback to that. Yeah, I didn't think that he was going to make it. I, in my brain, for some reason, assumed that this entire book was going to be about saving Aedion. It's not. She saved him by like this much. Literally like this much. So, that didn't happen. She was able to save him, so that was really cool. And actually getting him out of the castle and ending back up at her apartment was very, very interesting. I really did like that. However, as they were leaving, Dorian had stopped her. Well, it's not really Dorian, but it is Dorian. Dorian's body had stopped her. And Aelin promised Chaol and Nesrin, however you say her name, that she would not harm Dorian. So she's like, Dorian's like trying to like harm her, and she's like, just show me that you're still in there, show me you're still in there. And it was like, I'm not here, like, I'm not Dorian, I'm so-and-so, whatever. And before she was able to hurt Dorian, Chaol's little sidekick came up and like shot the arrow to tell her to like get away. So it turned out a few chapters later that, I think it was it the next chapter or a chapter after that, that Dorian was like, I tried to scream for her, the girl with the familiar eyes, whatever, and I just couldn't get through, like the prince had stopped me, which was really interesting because like now we know that like he's in there somewhere. However, it still is like, I'm still just like so scared about the whole situation. I'm hoping that he's strong enough to like be able to overcome it somehow. Next, we went over to Manon, if everyone remembers Manon Blackbeak, and in her room was a girl, Elide, E-L-I-D, Elide, I don't know how to say her name. So she ran into Manon when she was cleaning her room. I believe she was cleaning her room. She was mostly snooping in her room. And then it turns out later that she has iron teeth, witch blood, and that's why she's chained the way that she was, because everyone was like, why are you chained? She's Lohan, is that how you say his name? I'm trying to find it on here. She's the Lady of Perrin, P-E-R-R-A-N-T-H. Vernon, that's who it is. Vernon, she's Vernon's niece. So Astrid and Manon, Astrid was like following her around, and Manon was like, choose, I know you have it, whatever, do you have blue blood or red blood? And she's like, I have blue blood, which means it's witch blood. So now Manon is in charge of her, not Vernon, her uncle. I believe it's her uncle. So that's going to be interesting. And I believe that the reason that she's there is because they want to breed is it Valg? I don't know how to say it, so I'm going to say Valg, with the witches, and that's more than likely why they brought her there, because she hasn't, like, she's still technically a witchling, because she never, like, came into her full powers like Manon and Astrid and the 13 have. So that's interesting, too. I'm really excited to get, like, into that storyline and see how I believe that that girl is going to like progress so strongly, and I'm really excited to watch her fight next to Manon, which is what I believe is going to happen. Also, the vaults in the very beginning of the book, it was rebuilt. Aelin was fighting in a new place, and she chose the Val commander to fight, and she killed him. So that was just a little thing that happened. Aedion was talking about wanting to do the blood oath with Aelin, and I thought that I was like, am I making this up, or didn't Rowan already do this in Heir of Fire? So I read on, and he did in fact do this with her in Heir of Fire. And end of chapter 8, Aedion was freaking out when he found out that it already happened. He's like, that's an insult, whatever. In Terrasen, or however you say it, there's only one person who can do a blood oath, because Aedion's like, well, you can do it too, like, it's okay, but he's my, I don't know, like, mate, basically, is what it means. The king had everyone in the Shadow Market trapped and killed, and Chaol came in yelling, whatever. I used to love him. I feel like I don't like him anymore, or at least I'm, like, getting angry with him. He, like, came in and was blaming Aelin and was like, the execution was fire, so it's like all your fault. Of course, you like made a show of doing it, and now he's like killing innocent people. Like, look at what you did. Chapter 27, there's these word hounds, and it came up from the water to speak with the Val commander. It looks like a dog, but also is like a gargoyle. I looked up pictures. Look at this picture. It literally is like a werewolf dog gargoyle type thing. That crossover, very scary. Scared to see how that's going to continue, because I don't know what these things are going to be used for. Like, are they going to be like attack dogs or what? I don't know. But it like, yeah, scary. Also, Rowan is back. Rowan appeared. Her, Adian, and Nesrin were out, and all of a sudden, like, he was at like the end of the alley or whatever. We also then found out when they're all back at the apartment, Adian, Aelin, and Rowan, and they were talking. Apparently, Gavriel, which is one of like Rowan's like buddies, is Adian's dad, which is very, very interesting. So that means he's like very extremely powerful. However, it's also scary because Gavriel is like has the blood oath to Maeve, so that's also scary. I have another prediction. I think that Dorian is going to be able to beat the Val prince inside of him, but I'm also so scared. He's in there somewhere, so that must mean something. That's my 6 minute long. This clip is 6 minutes. I don't know how long I'm actually putting in what I'm saying. I'm on chapter 31 now, so I know that I haven't really been checking in when I'm reading. I haven't really had like my camera or had an opportunity to talk while I was reading, so I'm going to try and do that more, but that's kind of what's happening here. I am really loving this. I actually posted a TikTok about reading this book the other day, and so many people were commenting saying like, this was my favorite, oh my god, good luck, like you're going to need tissues, this is crazy, this one's the best. Like, so I'm really, really excited. I think that it's really great so far. Again, like nearly halfway through, so it's very interesting, and yeah. We're gonna keep reading. I want to finish this book by the end of the week. It's actually, I'm not gonna be able to. It's Wednesday right now. I'm gonna try and finish it soon. So let's get reading. Apologies that this has to be filmed on my phone. However, we learned a few things. We learned about shadow fire, which like feels like fire but isn't actually like true fire. We learned that Lysandra is a shapeshifter, and then we also learned that the woman who got Aelin out in the Assassin's Blade, was it? Did we learn in Assassin's Blade? No, we learned in Air of Fire, like who got her, like who distracted the people and then got her to be able to run, was a lead, that girl's mom. So that's interesting. And she also got in the dungeons or whatever and is learning what they were doing with the other witches. Right now, Aelin, Adian, and Rowan are having dinner with Arobynn and Lysandra. They brought them the demon thing, and he like took the ring off of him. So I'm really concerned about what he's going to do with that ring. Chapter 43, the end of chapter 43, Arobynn put the thing on her finger that he took from the general that they just like killed, like the ring that's controlling everybody. Hold on, because, and then he went and did like the blood thing that he was talking about the king doing with everybody, so he had to like, he just sliced her arm and licked her blood, so now he controls her because she's wearing the ring. What? That has to be... what? So because she has the word stone around her neck, is that why the ring's not working? Because apparently I read on a little bit after I finished that clip, and she just like took it off and was like, so that was what he wanted to do? That must be why. Oh, okay. So the person that she brought to Arobynn for like, and he got the ring from, it says, he tricked Arobynn into thinking that a little bit of blood could control these rings and that the ring he bore was the real thing, but it's not. I got the idea from you, actually. Lysandra has a very good jeweler and had a fake made. The real thing, I cut off the Val commander's finger. If Arobynn had taken off his other glove, he would have found him without one. I love her. She is so friggin' smart. You had me very stressed out, like very stressed out. Wow, that was loud. We have the salted caramel hot chocolate, and we have some updates about not Throne of Glass. Well, technically Throne of Glass, but it's Queen of Shadows. I am 50 chapters in on page 417. I am nearly done. I just got to have like a few good hours to sit down and read and I'll be good. But I do have some notes here for what I've been reading so far. So I left off and Lysandra had killed Arabin, and I put in here that I really hope it worked because I had to put the book down. I found out later that it did work. And then Aelin switched out the will. So she went there the next day and was like, I heard what happened, like pretending like as if she didn't plan this whole thing. She switched out the will so that she got everything from Arabin, and is it Clarice, who's like Lysandra's keeper, was like, what? And freaked out. That was very interesting. That was very smart of her because now she can pay for her army that she wants, so that's good. And she also pissed off Clarice, which is what she really wanted. With the witches, with the Valg princes and everything, how they're trying to like create more witches. Manon finally knows what's going on, and Astrid, her second, basically got like kicked out of like the top people for speaking up and telling her like, you let them do this, you basically gave them to them. So Manon's seeing everything that's wrong here, and I think she's gonna make a move soon and either get all of them out of there, like just she's gonna cause an issue with it, something that's stirring. Then we found out that Aelin wants to use Hellfire to knock down the towers. I think it's not Hellfire, Shadowfire, I think is what it's called. Shadowfire, not Hellfire. Isn't that a movie, AJ? No, Hellfire. Isn't that a movie?
I think that's a video game.
Okay, maybe that's where I got it from. She wants to do that to knock down the towers because apparently it is just so... No, Hellfire is right because it's basically like a... I don't know, they were just talking about it. I'm pretty sure that it's called Hellfire because I wrote it down like that. I don't know. To knock down the towers. They found a place using the sword with stories of Elena and Gavin with the Valg princes and all the king and whatever. And they found out about Erwan, who is the king of the Valg. He was buried in a tomb in Morath, M-O-R-A-T-H, which is basically the mountains. They like translated it. Elena and Gavin have buried him. They did not slay him like they said they did with that big sword. And they believe that the king is on his way to free him, and then that's going to be a really bad thing because he's like the most powerful. Like we think the Valg princes are powerful, he's like next level, and that's why they had to bury him and get him like just away from everything. So that's going to be very interesting. Now they have a deadline because they need to get the magic back by summer solstice, which I believe that they said is 10 days, and that's when it's going to be the strongest. So this is probably just going to be leading up to the summer solstice. I know that this is probably going to leave on a cliffhanger, so I'm nervous for that, but we're nearly done with this book. And then I have the tandem read, which scares me a lot. It's very, very intimidating, but we'll see how that goes. So let's read for a little bit. You don't even like that. Why are you drinking it? Are you just drinking it because it's mine? Can't have anything in this house. Nothing of my own. Are they gonna like make Manon like not be the head of the 13 anymore? Because they're like, she goes in there and she's talking to the 13 and she's like, they want another coven and a Blackbeak coven, and she's like, what do you think? Like, don't disobey me. Answer me when I'm talking to you. And everyone's like, I'm not talking. So I kind of feel like Asterin is leading a, what is that word? Anarchy? It's something along that kind of level. I don't know if that's the correct word within this, but it's, she's leading something against her.
Rebellion.
And rebellion? Yes, that's it. Rebellion, like that whole thing against her. Okay, so Asterin and Manon are fighting, and she's like literally about to rip her throat out. And then a young man with golden hair stood in the room, his black stone collar gleaming in the torchlight. And then my eyes jumped to the other side of the page where Elide, E-L-I-D-E, had talked about a golden-haired young man being in the room with the yellow legs. So that's interesting. Let me actually read the top of the page and not like jump to the bottom like I just did. It's Roland! I forgot about Roland! His eyes shifted, turning green, turning clear. It was with a young man's voice that he said, kill me, please, please kill me, Roland. My name was Roland. Like, Roland's fighting against the prince that's, like, taking over his body. Just like, Dorian isn't really able to because I think he has a I don't know if Roland has like a Valg, whatever the heck, prince inside of him, or if it's just like one of them and he's being controlled. Like Dorian has like a really strong prince inside of him, so he can't. But he's able to like kind of break the spell a little bit. She ripped his head off. She's a witch, so she's great. I love Manon. She ripped harder into him until she got to the bone and slashed through it, and his head thumped against the floor. Everyone's heads are falling onto the floor. This is like a recurring theme here. This lighting is like terrible. I'm literally sitting here. It's bright this way, but like right here it's really dark. So where is it? Evangeline like broke into the warehouse and was like, they have her, they took her. The king's men, they came with a letter from Arobin, said it was Arobin's will that they told about Lysandra's bloodline. Like, she told me if anything ever happened to come and get you. Lysandra got taken away, and she thinks that they're going for her next. So they're trying to get her out. Manon is meeting with Dorian and the king, which is really scary. I don't know what's going to happen there, but yeah. That's like a little update. It's like really, really good. I like don't want to put this book down at all. Quick update on a phone because my camera battery is dead. So what's happened since I've been reading? I am currently about to start chapter 70. I'm almost done. I have about 100 pages left. No, almost exactly 100 pages left. However, what's happened since I last talked to you was the king and Dorian and the 13 met to pass off. I'm pretty sure they were passing off Lysandra in the woods. The group ended up saving Lysandra, and in that whole thing, Rowan ended up getting shot with an arrow. I believe it was Manon who had shot the arrow. And then Aelin and Manon fought. And then Manon was like about to die and Aelin had saved her. So then she owed her like, she was indebted to her like because of saving her life, whatever, she owes her something. A little later on, Astrid had told Manon what happened with her grandmother. My heart absolutely exploded. That one hurt a lot. And why like the grandmother doesn't really like Astrid, and then Manon immediately promoted her back to second. The lead, that girl, had been captured by, I believe his name is, what's his name? Her uncle guy, and now she is in the dungeons. Rowan gave Lorcan a fake ring on the roof, like just trying to trick him. Aelin and Cole talked, told him that he deserved to be happy, and I think he's going to end up with Nessa. And I also think that Kale, not Cole, is going to die. So that's interesting. We'll see with that. Manon had left a message for Aelin saying Witch Killer, the human, is still inside him because she knows that she's going to kill Dorian. And now that whole plan is messed up. The whole plan in order to get into the castle is Aelin and Kale got to the gates and they're pretending to be the champion, bringing in the big prize, which is Kale being a traitor to the kingdom and whatever. And when they got there, they saw all of Kale's men all strung up. So we'll see what happens with that. The very ending of the chapter, when they got into the throne room, the king said, I do wonder who has been conspiring more, the captain or you, champion, or should I call you Aelin? So obviously, I believe that we all knew that he knew who she really was. But if we didn't know that already, then that was a shock. So we'll see what happens with that. So let's read on. I want to finish this book tonight. We'll see how far I can get. If not, I'm going to finish it. Got Dorian out and they were fighting, and it's not really Dorian, it's the prince inside of him. She was able to get Athryl's ring on his finger, and then magic was restored, and now he's remembering her. So it says here, once the demons screaming, he pushed and looked out through his eyes, and saw Selena Sarduthian standing before him. So he's back. We have Dorian. The commander's hand came down and was ripped clean off by a ghost leopard. A what? A what? Wait. No, I'm confused. Dorian is back. Oh my gosh. He snapped the collar off of his neck. So he's back. So like the little ring that was put onto his hand by Aelin, yeah, that just like brought Dorian back out. That's amazing. The king's also saying that he killed Kale, so let's hope that didn't happen. I can't speak right now. So much is happening.
Oh, I'm so tired.
No, the book, not you. I got it. Aelin and Dorian, right? So they like broke down like all the stuff that the king had on himself, just from my understanding. And the king is like telling him like, everything I did, it was to keep you safe, blah, 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 blah. Like, I found the key and took it, and he, Parrington, like, Erewhon was Parrington, and then his minion, the Dark King himself, had manhandled her, lived in the castle with her, never known, blah, 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 blah. And the king wasn't really the king. The king's body was taken over, kind of like how the princes were doing to, like, Dorian and stuff. And she's, like, thinking of what Nehemia said, like, the wicked will tell us anything to haunt our thoughts long after, and Dorian's like, don't believe him, he's lying, blah, blah, blah. And the king murmured that Kale's alive, broken, but I didn't make the kill. There was a light around him. I left him alive. And Dorian's like, you're literally lying, and you deserve this. And then light sparked at Dorian's fingertips, the fire that could end them both. So the demon inside the king had hunted her, not because of the threat that Terrasen posed, but for the fire and flames that could have destroyed them. She lifted a hand as Dorian stepped toward his father. They had to ask more, learn more, but the crowned prince tipped his head back to the sky and roared, and it was the battle cry of a god, and then the glass castle shattered. This is a very powerful last few chapters. I'm on page 582 of like 642, I believe. 645. So we're almost done. We're finishing this tonight. Brandon found a lead, that girl, right? Got her out, and then they ran into Caitlin. I'm going to call her Caitlin. They ran into her. Do we remember her from the first few books? I believe she was with Parrington at the time. I could be wrong, though. She's the one that has that shadow fire. She was able to beat the demon that was inside of her. And Manon's like, how the heck did you do that? Like, how long ago was that? And she's like, it's been a while. So she's trading places with the lead, basically saying, I'm going to pretend to be you. And Manon's like, they're going to know. I believe it's Manon. Or lead is saying, they're going to know. And she's like, they'll be dead before they even know. And basically, give this. She like cut the thing out of her body. What is it? She pulled out a scrap of dark fabric, frayed and ripped at the edges, and it was the cloak part of the cloak that Selena had given her, or Aelin had given her back then, and said, like, give this to her and tell her that you can open any door if you have the key, and tell her to remember her promise to me to punish them all. Good for her. Happy for her. Everyone's awake. Everyone's alive. The healer got all the glass out of Aelin. Whatever. Everyone's good. The only thing is that Kale cannot walk. Now he is paralyzed from the waist down, so that's interesting. That's going to be a big thing in the next book, I'm sure, because they couldn't send him somewhere because Maeve, which is going to be the whole thing in the next book, Maeve, they're going to fight with Parrington, I think his name is. Not Pennington. Yeah, Parrington. And, yeah, Nesrin, if that's how you say her name, Falik, that girl, she's crying. I don't know, Kale made a joke, and he said something about, turns out I wound up breaking my promise to you after all, since I technically can't walk out of the castle. She burst into tears, and he was like, okay, I guess I'll never make a joke again. I giggled, but, you know. We're almost done. We are on chapter 85. officially finished Queen of Shadows, and I will give my full review tomorrow when my camera is charged, so I'll see you then. We're gonna finish this video up really quick. So last night, you watched me finish Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is my quick review because you got all of my thoughts and feelings throughout this entire video. This book is a 5-star read. I know it took me forever and a day to get through, just like it feels like all of them are. I really truly think it's because I'm recording these and I want to give you guys the most that I can give. So I don't really read unless I can pick up the camera, for the most part anyway. So I don't want to rush through them. I want to hold on to them and stuff like that. So they are taking me a really long time to get through. I kept posting TikToks about like how far I was into this book, and so many people will comment and be like, oh my god, you just wait, and they were right, because probably from the last 100 or so, are you kidding, so fast, so quick, couldn't put that thing down. So I read about 150 pages yesterday. That's how far I had until the end. I thought that it was just amazing. I am super excited / scared for the next book. I am doing the tandem read, so books. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know that we're gonna go against Parrington. That's his name. Yes, I keep wanting to call him Pennington. Parrington, what is his name? I can't talk. I know it's gonna be against Pennington. Let me pull it up. I know exactly. I'm literally picturing exactly where it was on the page. Because we know Parrington lived. The Duke survived, so did Vernon. That's who I'm thinking of. So, the third of Worth, that place, had been blown out, and a good number of guards and servants with it, along with 2 covens and lead Lohan, that girl. Although, she's not really. So, she's going to come back eventually. I wonder where she's going to be. Manon and the 13 are still with the Duke and Vernon. However, I really think that they're going to end up like piecing it and then joining on Aelin's side. Manon ended up going to see Dorian, although like she just saw like the wyvern, like they didn't speak or anything, but she was just checking to see how he was and what happened with that. So I'm really excited but scared for the tandem read. That's going to be up next. I'm gonna end up tabbing that soon. I have like the whole page on like how exactly you're supposed to read it, but this brings this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the tandem read if you're watching all of these videos in order. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!